Dr. John Campbell has made a groundbreaking discovery about the Shroud of Turin, offering new insights into its origins and the mysterious image imprinted on it. His findings may provide answers to long-standing questions about the Shroud's formation. This discovery promises to spark further research and debate on this ancient artifact.
It's almost like that this is a message for later times, that while the Shroud could be appreciated in earlier centuries, no one knew it was a photographic negative until photography was invented. No one knew it had three-dimensional information until the people started wanting to interpret the topography of distant planets, and so many other things that science is revealing about this quite extraordinary artifact.
Dr. Campbell uncovered an absolutely mind-blowing discovery that may either support or completely challenge the idea that the Shroud of Turin has a divine origin. But before I share this astonishing revelation with you, I'd like to kindly ask you to click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Doing so will help us reach our ambitious goal of 150,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. Thank you so much for your support. Now let's jump right into the details of this captivating mystery.
A truly astonishing discovery about the Shroud of Turin has recently come to light, thanks to the diligent work of Dr. John Campbell, a man not often associated with relics, faith, or even religious symbolism. Yet, it is precisely this departure from traditional religious circles that makes his observations so compelling. His findings might change the way we view not only this mysterious relic, but also the very intersection between science and the sacred. The Shroud of Turin, for centuries, has been one of the most debated and enigmatic religious artifacts in human history. It is a 14-foot-long linen cloth bearing the faint but unmistakable image of a man who appears to have suffered crucifixion wounds, including scourge marks, punctures in the wrist, and a gaping wound in the side. Believed by many to be the burial shroud of Jesus Christ, it has inspired both fervent belief and intense skepticism. Before the invention of photography, no one knew that this cloth contained an image with photographic properties. It was only in 1898, when an Italian photographer named Secondo Pia took a picture of the shroud, that the mystery deepened. As his photographic plate developed in the darkroom, a clearer image emerged, not a blur, not a painting, but what appeared to be a positive image of a man's face. The actual shroud is essentially a photographic negative, a fact that was entirely unknown and unknowable before the 19th century. This shocked scientists and theologians alike. How could a medieval or ancient artist create a perfect photographic negative centuries before photography even existed? Dr. Campbell's research goes even further. He revisited the groundbreaking 1978 STURP investigation, Shroud of Turin research project, during which a group of highly credentialed scientists spent 120 continuous hours with the relic, using cutting-edge technology. The results were stunning. A NASA VP8 image analyzer, a device used to translate light intensity into 3D topographical data, was aimed at a photograph of the shroud, and for the first time, the image of a three-dimensional human form was rendered. No painting, drawing, or artistic forgery ever created behaves this way under 3D analysis. Only the shroud did. Dr. Campbell points out that this feature, three-dimensional depth encoded in a two-dimensional cloth, suggests not only that the image was not manually applied, but that it originated from a burst of radiant energy, something that neither ancient artists nor modern forgers have been able to replicate. The image is not embedded with paint, pigment, dye, or brush strokes. In fact, microscopic analysis shows that the fibers themselves are only discolored on their outermost layers, as if seared by light or radiation. There is no penetration into the weave of the cloth, which further deepens the enigma. Another rarely mentioned yet significant detail is the presence of human blood on the cloth. Tests confirm that the blood is type AB, a type most commonly found in Middle Eastern populations. Furthermore, high levels of bilirubin, a substance produced under extreme physical trauma, were detected in the bloodstains. This points to someone who experienced severe physical suffering shortly before death, exactly as described in the Gospel accounts of Jesus' crucifixion. According to Dr. Campbell, critics like John Calvin, the Protestant reformer, dismissed the shroud as a medieval forgery without thorough investigation. Calvin's theological rejection led many Protestant circles to ignore or deride the relic. Dr. Campbell argues that this was a premature judgment, an intellectual error of dismissing the exceptional along with the fraudulent. While many relics from the medieval period were undoubtedly crafted for profit or political influence, the shroud stands apart in both mystery and scientific resistance to debunking. Even the fire damage in 1532, which left behind noticeable scorch marks and water stains, failed to erase the central image. In fact, the image survived the inferno almost untouched, while the cloth itself showed signs of severe burning. This peculiar preservation has led some researchers to question if the shroud is somehow resilient to natural decay, or if the image was formed through non-thermal radiation, as theorized by some physicists. What is especially compelling is the anatomical precision visible in the shroud's image. The man appears to be naked, as was the Roman custom in executions, and exhibits classic signs of crucifixion trauma. Notably, the nail wounds are in the wrists, not the palms, a fact unknown in artistic portrayals for centuries but confirmed by modern archaeology. This level of anatomical accuracy raises the question, how could a medieval forger know this? The face shows a swollen cheekbone, a bent nose, and a patch of beard ripped away, details consistent with the Gospel accounts and the prophetic writings of Isaiah, who wrote of a suffering servant so disfigured that he scarcely appeared human. His appearance was so disfigured beyond that of any human being, Isaiah writes. Could this have been a literal fulfillment captured in linen? The image also depicts a wound in the right side, consistent with a Roman lance, as described in the book of John. Blood and clear serum appear to have flowed from the wound, just as the Gospels report. Additionally, shoulder bruises indicate the carrying of a heavy burden, likely the crossbar of the crucifixion instrument. The knees show damage consistent with repeated falls, and scourge marks span the back, over 100 in total, matching the Roman flagrum weapon. High-resolution imagery has enabled forensic pathologists to study these wounds in extraordinary detail. According to Dr. Campbell, they represent not merely an artistic depiction of suffering, but an authentic record of a real human ordeal, recorded with precision beyond the capabilities or knowledge of any medieval artist. In light of all this, Dr. Campbell urges the academic and religious world to reconsider the shroud, not as a medieval fake or object of superstition, but as a mysterious intersection of faith, history, and unknown science. Whether one believes in its divine origin or not, the shroud refuses to yield to easy explanations. It stands as a silent witness, scarred by fire, marked by blood, but enduring, offering a message, perhaps, not for the past, but for a future generation ready to receive it. For centuries, the Shroud of Turin has stirred the imagination of believers, skeptics, and scientists alike. It is more than a relic. It is a symbol shrouded in mystery, pain, and a paradoxical sense of peace. The fabric itself appears to speak, not only through its delicate weave, but through the story it has seemingly captured, a narrative of suffering, death, and something perhaps even more profound. The most striking visual evidence comes from the blood and water-like fluid that seems to flow from the chest wound, a phenomenon consistent with the gospel account of Jesus being pierced by a Roman soldier's lance. This detail supports the notion that the crucified man had already died before the lance was thrust into his side. The mixture of blood and clear serum depicted on the cloth aligns with modern medical understanding of post-mortem trauma, suggesting a level of anatomical precision that's difficult to explain if this image were a medieval forgery. Each wound visible on the shroud tells a story. Each mark appears to correspond to a specific stage of torture, scourging, crucifixion, and post-mortem piercing. It is as though the cloth has not merely recorded an image, but preserved the very echoes of human agony, frozen in time. When scientists first conducted an in-depth analysis of the linen in 1978, they used a 35 mm color transparency to study the fabric structure. What they found was fascinating. The image is so superficial that it barely penetrates the top 2 microns of each fiber. The image appears only on the outermost fibrils, and where those fibers lie beneath others, the image does not appear, suggesting that the formation process came from above, not from contact. The mystery deepens when one realizes that the image is not made from any pigment, paint, dye, or stain. Numerous chemical and microscopic tests confirm the absence of artistic materials. Despite this, the shroud contains an extraordinarily lifelike and anatomically correct depiction of a man who endured immense suffering. There are visible signs of beatings, crown of thorns injuries, and crucifixion, all rendered without the hand of an artist. Even more astonishing is that this image can be converted into a 3-dimensional relief, something no painting or photograph can achieve. The NASA-developed VP-8 image analyzer revealed that the intensity of the image correlates with the distance between the cloth and the body it covered. This suggests that the image was formed by some kind of radiation or energy burst, brief, intense, and directional. No known natural or artificial method has been able to reproduce this exact phenomenon. Under ultraviolet fluorescence, the bloodstains glow differently than the rest of the image, confirming that they are indeed blood. But how is it that this blood is still red, despite being over 2,000 years old? Normal blood turns brown or black with age. Researchers propose that high levels of bilirubin, a substance released in times of great stress or trauma, might be responsible for preserving the red hue. This only deepens the impression that the person wrapped in the shroud experienced immense suffering. Biochemical tests have also revealed the presence of human hemoglobin and albumin, both indicators of real human blood. Though still under investigation, the blood type has been tentatively identified as AB, the rarest blood type among modern humans, and one frequently found in Jewish populations. In perhaps one of the most groundbreaking revelations, modern imaging has shown that the shroud contains both front and back images of a full-length human body, recorded with an unprecedented level of anatomical accuracy. The arms are crossed, the body appears rigid from rigor mortis, and even the swelling in the cheeks and bruises on the shoulders are visible, suggesting he carried a heavy burden like a crossbeam. The head, tilted slightly forward and resting on what appears to be a cushion, reflects the natural position of a crucified man at death. The legs hang downward as if still suspended from the cross, even though the arms have been lowered, likely after removal. This is not a romanticized depiction of death. It is a raw, pathological, and clinical record of extreme human torment. And yet, despite its gruesome detail, the image is hauntingly peaceful. The face is calm, lips gently closed, eyes shut in eternal rest. There is a sacred stillness that seems to defy the horror endured. It is as though the image captures not just the moment of death, but the precise transition from life to something beyond. In all the scientific tests conducted, from X-ray fluorescence to microchemical analysis, not one has revealed any hint that the image was painted, drawn, or printed. No oils, no brush strokes, no organic residues have been found that would indicate the hand of a forger. The image, instead, seems to have been encoded onto the cloth by an unknown process, one that modern science cannot explain. The most remarkable aspect of the image is its photographic, negative-like quality. When photographed, the negative reveals even more clarity and detail than the cloth itself shows to the naked eye. This was first discovered in 1898 by amateur photographer Secondo Pia, and it has mystified scientists ever since. No known artistic technique from any era can account for this feature. Even more confounding is the fact that the image resists replication. All attempts to duplicate it, using painting, scorching, vaporography, radiation, or photochemical methods, have failed. No technique has managed to create an image that mimics all of the shroud's complex characteristics: superficiality, 3D data encoding, photonegative contrast, and anatomical precision. Despite centuries of exposure to light, fire, handling, and environmental contaminants, the image has persisted, almost untouched by time. This alone is an argument for its authenticity, a true relic that has defied decay and deception alike. Recent advancements in high-resolution spectroscopy and digital scanning have begun to uncover even more micro-level data within the shroud's fibers. These new findings suggest that some type of energy, possibly radiant, interacted with the linen at a molecular level, changing only the cellulose structure on the surface. Some have speculated that this could be consistent with a burst of radiation from within the body, perhaps even connected to what Christians describe as the moment of resurrection. Although still controversial, this hypothesis cannot be completely dismissed, as no alternative explanation has proven more consistent with the observed data. The physical features visible on the shroud, bruises, abrasions, lacerations, puncture wounds, are all consistent with Roman crucifixion practices. The placement of the nails in the wrists rather than the palms, the flow patterns of the blood, and the nature of the scourge wounds all align with what history and medicine tell us about executions in ancient Judea. These are not artistic guesses. They are medically accurate reflections of real trauma. Thus, whether one believes in its divine origin or not, the Shroud of Turin clearly bears the imprint of a real human being who suffered and died in a way consistent with the biblical Jesus. That alone makes it one of the most important and mysterious objects in human history. To this day, no consensus has been reached. The scientific community remains divided. For some, the shroud is a medieval masterpiece of unknown technique. For others, it is a supernatural relic beyond the reach of material explanation. Its endurance through centuries, its mysterious image, and its seeming defiance of time and technology make it a relic that continues to inspire reverence and inquiry. As technology advances, we may one day unlock the full story the shroud holds. But until then, it stands as a testament to mystery, a silent witness to suffering, sacrifice, and the eternal human search for meaning. Whether seen through the lens of science, history, or faith, the Shroud of Turin remains a profound enigma, one that may never yield its final answer, except by revelation beyond our comprehension.